Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, I welcome Dr. R. Pravallika Sree, and she will talk about prawn production and mushroom cultivation. I now request the speaker to begin. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Pravallika Sree. I'm Assistant Professor and Faculty in charge of Spawn Production at Julian University. So today the talk will be mainly focusing on spawn production and also cultivation of few known species of mushroom. So here today PPT is consisting of these elements. So let's start very beginning with mushroom introduction. So, of course, mushrooms are nature's hidden treasures, which have been an integral component of Indian agriculture. So, it was conventional and non-commercial, and now it has modernized the business sector. And as an expert, so everyone is suggesting to incorporate this mushroom cultivation in IFS integrated farming system, considered one of the sustainable and successful model in our country. So mushrooms are not new to us, and it has a vital element in many its production. So it's very reliable sources of nutrition, protein, and all. And also, mushroom cultivation has been providing an additional income for small and marginal farmers if they are incorporating in IFS, and also for rural youth and also for farm women mainly, because it is completely an indoor activity which requires less capital, less space, less time, less labor and less technical language when compared to other agripreneur sectors. So therefore, it's fully a feasible venture for farm women and also for small and marginal farmers, which generates revenue uh, continuously. And it also provides total recycling of hydro waste, such as whatever we are using, like for substrate, paddy, straw, and all, we are recycling. And also, it's highly beneficial for mushroom production, also as it contains cellulose. So all these are beneficial aspects to start mushroom cultivation. So let's begin uh, with a technical definition of mushroom now. So mushrooms are primitive organisms known as fungi. This belongs to macrofungi. They lack chlorophyll and completely grows as saprophytes on dead decomposed matter. So they derive their nutrition with the help of the mycelium that penetrates into substratum, that can be soil or wood or any decaying organic matter, as I mentioned previously, paddy straw or wheat straw, any kind of agro waste for the growth. So, when basically this mycelium has gone profusely by absorbing all these food materials, it develops spore-bearing reproductive structure or fruiting body, which is called as a mushroom, which we usually consume and which will be available in the market. That is fruiting body or reproductive structure of a mushroom, macrofungi. So the basic structure of mushroom consists of an umbrella-like cap, which technically is called as spires. The stalk, gills, all these are parts of mushrooms. So mushrooms, as defined earlier, these are macrofungi with outstanding fruiting body that can be hypogynous or epigynous. That means we can just see like above the surface or below the surface. And as I mentioned, it is a macrofungi. You can see comfortably with the naked eye and can be picked up by hand as well. So, one thing that I have to clear is all fungi are not mushrooms. And the most important point, all mushrooms are not edible. So, there are few edible mushrooms. Total 14,000 species are reported in the world. Of them, we have only 10% edible mushrooms. So in this from today's talk, we can just learn how to identify edible and non-edible mushrooms as well. So this is life cycle of mushrooms, a life cycle of a mushroom. So basically, from a fruiting body of mushroom, spores can be imprinted, or spores or formed from or from the bottom region or at the junction of gills and stem. So the spore germinates and mycelium is produced, and matured mycelium, here we are calling it as primoria, which later grows into a fully grown mushroom body, fruiting body. So need to consume mushroom, force for its good taste and unique flavor. Apart from this, out of its outstanding nutritional value, and also a distinctive type of like nutrients. Like of course we don't get uh, see soluble and also calcium we are not getting, and why mushroom could be cultivated, because it's quite easy as I mentioned where to cultivate, and it's relatively very short duration. If you take paddy straw, within 14 days you are getting produced. Other mushrooms also within 30 to 45 days you can get uh, the yield, and also income can be generated. Less investment and high return, and this is kind of self-employment. Agripreneurship, this could be a best option, less time, less labor required, and the agriculture waste we can utilize properly. We can recycle nutritional value, and no space constraint. We can just stack up mushroom bags also. So there is no special space dedicated to this mushroom needed. Of course, it's high market demand because of its nutritional value. People consuming a lot from a decade, we can say. So whatever we are spending, like mushroom substrate and all, again from here also we can cycle and use as compost inputs and all. Also directly we can just keep in our field also, it will decompose easily. So and it's a boon, like Asian climate is well suitable for mushroom cultivation. And in this slide, we can see various components of nutritional values of mushrooms. So here, what not everything, protein, fiber, we are getting. Vitamin D is like majorly we are getting source. So in a busy life, these days, vitamin D, natural vitamin D is getting is a boom, apart from exposing to sunlight and all. So consuming the mushrooms is a good really option. Copper, selenium, potassium, and other important minerals such as phosphorus, zinc, magnesium, and most importantly, no cholesterol, low fat, calories, and low sodium. So every age group with all health elements also they can consume mushroom. So usually in India, these four types of mushrooms are cultivated commercially. Button mushrooms and milky mushroom. Mostly we are growing season will be Kharif, that means April to October. Button mushroom, agaricus, milky calcite, and in Rabi season, that means in during winter, like November to Feb, we can go for oyster mushroom and paddy straw mushroom cultivation. Here, I need to clarify, this is mushroom cultivation from calendar, but the spawn production will be just before these months that I'll be mentioning later part of my PPT. So oyster mushrooms. So before this, we'll just see how to identify um, this edible mushrooms. So characteristic features, how we can identify, because although mushrooms occupy a prominent place of importance in biological world in terms of everything like diversity, economic value, environmental impact, wild edible mushrooms are not well documented, poorly studied, and underutilized. So people should be aware to distinguish between edible and non-edible mushrooms. So we should identify this because to avoid this accidental deaths associated with consumption of poisonous mushrooms, mycotoxins and all. So these are all characteristic features. So important feature of poisonous mushroom is presence of ring or annulus in the middle of the stalk. This is very important, very striking feature. And also we can see vulva. Vulva will be present in poisonous mushrooms. So however, um, usually this vulva presence and presence of a ring is also present in few edible mushrooms like button mushrooms and paddy mushrooms, because in button mushrooms we can see annual ring or annulus or ring, and in button paddy straw mushroom we can see presence of vulva. uh, Oyster also sometimes in some species of oyster, we have four types: pink, gray, black, white. So of them, few types of mushrooms, oyster mushrooms may present this vulva. So the another striking feature is poisonous mushrooms are comparatively soft, and skin of this layers, that means cap, that umbrella shaped, whatever I showed in my first slides, the cap cannot be easily peeled off. So in our edible mushrooms, we can easily peel off that outer layer, but in poisonous mushrooms, we cannot peel off the umbrella shape that peel from 5 years of cap. Generally, poisonous mushrooms are very colorful and quite attractive. Uh, and also, we can see milk-like exudations oozing out from damaged fruiting bodies also. Generally, if we are missing all these four features also, if we are consuming also, we can clearly feel the bitterness or sour taste and also their unpleasant smell. So these are features to distinguish between edible and non-edible mushrooms. And here are tests or practices usually we are following to like based on traditional knowledge. These are some of test or practices to identify non-edible or poisonous mushrooms. So generally, even ants, insects, or other animals do not feed on poisonous mushrooms, and these color of mushrooms when soaked in water, it turns blackish. Or brinjal pieces, if you are soaking in that, completely it is turning as blackish in color. The same way, if you are dipping in salt solution also, the solution is becoming black. So if it becomes black, that denotes or represents its poisonous. And also our silver or steel or copper vessels, whatever we are cooking, so that turns blackish when immersed in a dish of poisonous mushrooms. And also other thing is garlic flakes. Garlic flakes takes a dark color when added to water along with poisonous mushrooms. Usually changing color of onions, brinjal occurs when you're cooking the poisonous mushrooms. And if milk comes contact with poisonous mushrooms, it immediately curds. So all these are some tests and practices usually following and based on uh, traditional knowledge. So moving on to edible and cultivated mushrooms, which are important in today's talk. So oyster mushroom. Usually the scientific name is Lotus species. The common name of the species is in accordance to shape of fruiting bodies. So here we can see fruiting bodies in the shape of oyster, which resembles the shell of sea oyster, and also it's like fan or spatula. So the fruiting bodies bears like different colors. We can see white in the market. We can see usually white, green, and in some areas, northeastern areas of India, we can see yellowish, pink, gray or light brown, depending on the species basically. Also, it can be grown in wide range of temperature and has species suitable for temperate and subtropical regions. So these are some of the advantages of growing oyster mushrooms, because here it grows on wide range of agriculture waste. Though paddy straw is the best substrate, it possesses highest bioconversion ability. That means more than 60 to 100%. Like it does not leave any waste. It can easily tolerate the temperatures, Indian temperatures, and almost we can, growing season is longer, basically 8 months in a year we can just go for oyster mushroom cultivation. And cultivation technology is very simple, growth rate is faster, low cost of production, efficient use of space, and post harvest processing is also very easy. Just sun drying is enough. And this oyster mushroom is widely cultivated in northeastern India, West Bengal, Odisha, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and also Andhra Pradesh. Some of oyster species usually will be seen Pleurotus florida, Pleurotus sagittarius, Austriatus, all these you can see. So next, moving on to button mushroom, Agaricus by large button, so the name button mushroom, Agaricus bisporus. It is completely a temperate crop, I can say, and most varieties for domestic and in restaurants also. It's a highly demand type of mushroom, button mushrooms. Large scale production of this mushroom is stopped because of non-availability of quality raw materials, particularly wheat and paddy straw. Sometimes gypsum resulting in poor quality of compost. All these are like constraints. However, seasonal production is possible in large scale in majority of northeast parts of India, where temperatures are very low, 20 degrees. And also spawn production, mushroom cultivation technology also we can see mostly in the mentioned parts of India. Production cost is very low. If we are getting raw materials for cheap and easy, then it is very low. Good domestic and export markets, so it's highly demandable type of mushroom. Global level first, increasing market for processed the benefit high. There is involvement of high cost of energy conversion, year-round production, lack of facilities to produce quality compost, strong casing material, processed products, all kinds. But still, agaricus, summer mushroom, is because of cheap agaricus goes very well, even at the temperatures of 24 for subtropical areas. So, paddy straw mushroom. Usually, this cultivation we can see mostly in Odisha and West Bengal, mainly, predominantly. Here we can use the substrate paddy straw, Olivariella olivia, mostly grown species of paddy straw. This is completed mushroom, mostly preferred for its bitter taste and flavor as compared to oyster mushroom. Advantages associated with this cultivation of paddy straw is it's like quickest growing species among mushrooms. Cropping cycle will be only 14 days. After 14 to 17 days, you can get first flush of paddy straw. Its cultivation method is very easy. Uh, However, the mushroom variety has low production. Biological efficiency is very low. If it is stored beyond 24 hours, mostly mushrooms becomes watery. And basically the shelf life is very low. And it's usually, as I mentioned, it's predominantly in Odisha and Tamil Nadu and also West Bengal also. So moving on to milky mushroom, Thales highway indica. It is partially milky mushroom or white mushroom because of its color. Mostly this can be seen in southern parts of India, Tamil Nadu, AP, Karnataka. So successful cultivation of mushroom has been initiated even now in part of southern India and few places of northeast during summer months. Some special attributes also. Uh, it can be grown at high temperatures, 28 to 35 degrees. And cultivation method, everything is similar to oyster mushroom. Uh, Okay, and requires special type of crop, like cropping room. It requires more light compared to other mushrooms during this cooking body formation stage. And also more adaptive with excellent eating quality. Shelf life is high. Among these four, we can say paddy straw shelf life is very less. But other than that, it's so in perforated polythene bags. So it has good texture which is retained even after cooking. That's why mostly people are using this mushrooms for pickling. But the cooking board is pungency. Of course, that we can remove by blanching, just soaking in salt solution. So this table is a brief giving brief about all four moistures, the species, the substrate we have to use, growing temperature, relative humidity, life cycle, how after how many days we can expect first harvest, yield, shelf life, protein content, and production cost per kg is also given. This will be useful for any mushroom growers. So this part is already covered, how to distinguish between poisonous and this thing. And these are mainly Asian mushrooms, which is having medicinal value and also having different compounds as mentioned here, everything, Ganoderma, Lentinula, Agaricus, Pleurotus, here again Ganoderma, Auricularia, Camelina, Tramatus, and Cordyceps. Mostly Asian and Mexican people usually prefers one of these mentioned mushrooms. This is brief about production of mushrooms in India. So while mentioning about these four commercially mushrooms, I have already mentioned in which areas all these productions occurs and temperature requirements, all these. So this is just bar diagram, pie chart of this production of mushrooms. So mushroom cultivation procedure starts. Of course, the main key input is spawn. Spawn, mostly mushroom growers are making their own spawn, or else they can get from commercial based also. So it is basically prepared by growing fungal mycelia in grains under sterile conditions. Compost is prepared by mixing paddy straw with number of organic materials, cow dung and all. So for 1 week, we have to compost. Then spawning. Afterwards only, we have to inoculate bags, compost bags with spawn. Casing. Casing means the how we are doing, like one layer of compost, one layer of spawn, 5 years in one bag. So it gives support to growing mushrooms, which provides humidity and regulates temperature as well. Next, pinhead or pinning. So after 10 days after spawning, on an average 10 to 15 days, we can see small pinhead protruding from polythene bags, like little bud. So all these white little buds are called as pins. So harvesting usually temperature also actually conditional temperature is very required essential for mushroom growth. So usually 15 to 23 degrees maintained. So they grow 3 centimeters in a week. So here first flush of mushrooms we can expect. So the same thing here in the flow chart I have just mentioned. So the second part of today's topic, spawn production. So spawn, as I mentioned, it is seed of a mushroom. Spawn means a pure culture of mycelia grown on special medium. The medium can be grains of wheat, rice, sorghum, bajra, paddy, all these we can use as substratum to grow spawn. So these are requirements for production of spawn: laboratory, culture media, food culture, mother spawn, commercial spawn, and all. So laboratory, we need all these equipments mentioned here. So these are pictorial representation of equipment required. So spawn culture media, PDA, which is common media in the laboratories, PDA, or you can go for malt extract agar also, MEA. So here is a normal procedure, PDA, it's nothing unique here. So pure culture, how we can produce pure culture from a fruiting body, either taking a matured, or that means first flush harvest of mushrooms. Fruiting body should be taken and should be longitudinally slit, and taking the tissue and culturing on PDA plates is one method, or else second method is spore culture. Spore culture is basically you're testing the spores, mycelial spores from bottom region of fruiting bodies directly on agar medium. So here are the pictorial representations. Here, this is agar, media, autoclave stands. This is tissues. Here you can see fruiting bodies, which are longitudinally slit and inoculating in the media and incubating for a week or 10 days. Mother's milk. What is mother's milk? So after mother culture, from mother culture, whatever you are taking and inoculating on grains, that for T2 generation is mother spawn, T is mother culture. So mother spawn, basically you have to take any grains as mentioned earlier, sorghum, wheat, rye, barley, anything, in clean water to remove any damaged grains or anything. You have to cook grains until it cooks completely, but it should not become more soft. So then you have to mix calcium carbonate, like 20 grams per kg, usually to balance pH, usually to alkaline pH we have to keep. Next, you have to sterilize. You have to plug in with cotton and aluminum foils. You need to sterilize. Afterwards, you need to take the mycelial bits from mother culture and you need to inoculate in the sterilized grains, polythene bags or bottles. So that is called as mother spawn. Here is a detailed pictorial flow chart of this process as set here. So sorghum grains, boiling, shade drying, mixing this calcium carbonate, then closing the mouth of the polythene bags or the bottles. So next sterilization and stored in the trays after putting mycelium. So commercial spawn is basically for commercial production from mother we are multiplying. Like next generation we are multiplying as per our requirement. So that is called as commercial spawn. The remaining process is same. Sterilization, plugging, boiling grains, drying. Again sterilization is common. So the same thing with the commercial spawn, you can see everything should be done under receptacle conditions only. So here are few flowcharts detailed for mushroom growers. Commercial spawn flowchart. Whatever I have mentioned, here just it's a flowchart representation. Here is another pictorial. So spawn storage. So usually we can store in cold room for 1 to 2 months. If not, outside means it will be for days only, maximum 7 days, 10 days. After that, viability will decrease and henceforth mushroom production also will decrease. So production, how much temperature required for all these types of mushrooms, storage temperature, shelf life, incubation temperature, how many days required for colonization of mycelium, everything is mentioned. So transport, we can easily transport good quality, but it is also important to by transporting and storage conditions or temperature conditions. So you can transport from one place to another place and refrigerate the vans only during night. when temperature does not rise above 32 degrees. So it is very important. The spawn bag should not get exposed to heat and dust during transport. So all these are precautions, which one or the other have been mentioned in my talk at every point. So this is our Centurion University Spawn Production Unit. So you can just contact. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for a wonderful presentation. I will take up the questions from the questions now. In the meantime,
Yeah,
can you please, on your video, we'll check if it is working.
yeah.
Yeah, this is fine. Okay, I'll move on to the questions now. What sterilization methods are used in spawn production to prevent contamination?
So usually a regular sterilization, nothing more technical sound. Autoclave, first glass plate should be sterilized in hot air oven, 180 degrees for 3 hours. Afterwards, what grains, boiling, after boiling grains, undrained. Afterwards, you need to pack in polythene bags or in bottles, and you need to place in autoclave, 121 degrees, 15 psi for 20 minutes. So afterwards, everything should be done under laminar, in laminar airflow. Everything should be done aseptic. And ethanol, sterilizing your hands, whatever you are using, glass weights and all, the following, the same procedure you have to use at every step.
Okay, how do you ensure the purity and quality of the spawn?
So spawn usually in 10 to 15 days, full growth of mycelium we can expect. So that full growth mycelium also is not ready for spawning. And so that should be mature. That means it should be a little uh, whitish in color, but without black specks or any contamination. So this represents that okay, the spawn is ready. It's a matured spawn, fully grown mycelium, as well as no contamination. There should not be any black specks in the polythene bags or bottles, whatever we are using. So it should be very clean, whitish color, and should have fruiting bodies. Orangish tinge should be there, so that we can see a mature spawn, which is ready for spawning for mushroom cultivation.
What are the common challenges faced during spawn production and how can they be overcome?
So usually at every step, there are a few challenges, right? From selecting grains, we have to select high quality grains, whatever sorghum, rye, whatever mentioned in my talk, wheat, paddy. We have to ensure that it's highly graded, high grade, high quality grains. So afterwards, by cooking also, it should not be more cooked. It should not be overcooked, and while sun drying, it should be dried properly. It shouldn't hold any moisture. And also afterwards, sterilization using gypsum, calcium carbonate, if it is not high grade pharmaceutical grade, even at that step also we can expect contamination. So each and every step, if it is not following according to protocol, there are high chances of contamination. This I can say a regular challenge everyone faces, even if they are technically sound. So if the grains, right from grain selection, everything should be very uh, partition.
What is the role of mother spawn in mushroom cultivation and how is it prepared?
Mother spawn is basically T2 generation. So mother culture, we are producing, mother culture is T1. So it is produced from directly fruiting body of mushroom. I mentioned in my talk as well. So from mother culture, whatever mother culture is basically a normal mycelium of mushroom. So that mycelial bits, if you are taking and inoculating the grains, like sorghum or any grains. So that first got grain mycelium is called as mother spawn. This is very essential because this mother spawn is highly viable. it is very vigorous. If you are using mother spawn directly, mushroom production also will be high. So basically, mother spawn is very essential, vigorous actually.
What are the equipment and materials required for a small scale spawn production?
So small scale also the basic requirements: autoclave, laminar air flow chamber. These two are prime important. So if growers can go for next level, they can buy hot air one also. But for essentially autoclave and an induction or any stove to boil grains, a basic equipment, and laminar airflow is required. And other chemicals, ethanol, Bunsen burner, all these are important.
Okay. What are the common diseases and pests that affect mushroom crops and how can they be managed?
Usually green mold, Penicillium we can see, like verticillium species, as well as Aspergillus is a common pathogen here. Uh, Pest means usually flies will be coming because, as I mentioned, it grows completely saprophyte. It's completely growing under saprophytical conditions. So we can expect, but mostly, unless and until if it is increasing threshold level, yield is not hampered. So because it's directly we are eating, so we can go for organic practices like spraying neem oil, or else simply regular sanitary measures like cleaning every day, like normal basic cleaning, and also bleaching powder. All these we can just spray every week intervals. So mostly pathogen and pest will be minimized. If you are using optimal conditions, basic cleaning, basic sanitary measures, if you are taking, organic practices were recommended. If not fungicides, means we have contact fungicides, carbendazim, mancozeb, we can just spray, but mostly not recommended.
Okay. What are the economic aspects of mushroom farming, including investment, yield, and profitability?
Investment or investment on return, like return on investment ROI will be always high in any aspect, whether it is you are going for small scale or large scale. So yeah, if like investment is very low, you can just start in a room also, or else in a shed, like just normal polythene wrapped shed also we can just go on. You can start with gunny bags, low investment, but definitely whatever type of mushroom you are taking up, large scale or small scale, return on investment ROI will be high.
Okay. What are the best practices for harvesting, storing, and packaging mushrooms to maintain quality and shelf life?
So usually first flush of harvest, a mature fruiting body should be identified at correct day. That's why everyday monitoring is very important. So it depends on type of mushroom growing. As I mentioned, paddy straw, we can just expect on 17th day itself, first flush. So almost 2 to 3 flush of harvest we can expect. So after harvesting, we have to store in like polythene bags, which we should be like pinned properly so that air circulation will be ensured. So the shelf life, to increase shelf life more, we can just refrigerate. We can store on an average, we can store from 3 to 7 days. Or cold storage means we can +3 +4 days we can store properly. So while
Okay.
transporting also, you have to, one should make sure the in refrigerator ones only it should be transported, and no dust, nothing should be contact.
Okay. What are the equipments and materials required for small scale spawn production unit?
Spawn production means we need laminar and autoclave as mentioned earlier. But if you are going for mushroom production, equipment is not necessary for small scale, I'm telling. If it is area of scaling is you're scaling up the production means you can go for humidifiers or AC, like for regulating temperature and as well. But for spawn production, equipment is necessary because aseptic conditions should be maintained. So that is necessary. Autoclave, hot air oven, laminar airflow, these are all like most important things one should have for spawn production.
Okay. Thank you very much. We have now completed the round of questions on behalf of agricultureinformation.com. We like to thank Dr. R. Pravallika Sree for the talk and for answering the questions. This meeting will now be closed.
Thank you.
You're most welcome.